Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And welcome to this month's edition of Fun, where we're going to be talking about sports idioms, and we're going to teach you some sports idioms that you could use in your everyday conversation. Of course, sports is when people compete against each other in games like baseball or football or hockey or whatever. And we have certain idioms and terms from those sports that we do use in everyday conversation.
We have tons of sports idioms, things that we've seen happen in sports that we then use in our everyday lives. It doesn't have to be an idiom that you only use if you're watching a game or playing a sports, some sort of sports match or game. These are idioms we just use in regular life now, but they originated or came from sports, which is kind of fun. And we're talking about different kinds of sports. We go from cricket, which is not played in the U.S. It's originated, I think, in India, right?
England, I think, but of course it's played in India and Pakistan,
they may have
Sri
brought
Lanka,
it. They brought it to the countries that they went to. So, cricket is not a big sport at all in the U.S., but it is in some other countries. But we're going to talk about that. Idioms from hockey, and the ones I'm most familiar with are from baseball.
Score big with words, using sports idioms like a pro. Many popular English expressions originate from the world of sports. While their roots lie in athletics, their meanings extend far beyond the playing field. Here are 3 examples. Hat trick. This expression comes from cricket. When a bowler dismisses a batter, it's called taking a wicket. Taking 3 wickets in a row is a great achievement, so in the past, a bowler who achieved this was rewarded with a hat. Later, sports like hockey and soccer adopted it to mean scoring 3 goals in a game. Nowadays, this phrase means to achieve any 3 successes consecutively, not just in sports. For example, if a comedian's last 3 jokes landed perfectly during a show, you could say it was a hat trick. Out of left field. This idiom is rooted in baseball. A throw from left field to either home plate or first base can sometimes catch runners off guard. Therefore, the term is used to describe something unexpected, strange, or unusual. For instance, if your best friend suddenly announces they're moving to South America, that would be completely out of left field. Throw in the towel. The phrase has its roots in boxing. When a boxer faced inevitable defeat and their coach wanted to stop the fight, they would throw a towel into the ring to surrender. Today, this idiom refers to giving up or conceding defeat in any situation. For instance, the company threw in the towel after years of financial trouble. These sports idioms bring color and energy to our everyday communication, helping us sound more natural and engaging. It's time that you use them in your next conversation. Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're going to score big with words. We're using sports idioms like a pro. Remember, an idiom is a phrase with 2 or more words, but we do have single words that come from sports that we use, like the word score. If you get a point in sports, like if you get a basket or if you shoot the puck into the net, you have scored. And we also use this in life. I scored big on the stock market. My stocks were sold with great prices. But here, of course, we're talking mostly about idioms, but we'll give you some extra terminology as our lesson continues.
It's also used actually as slang between 2 friends. Maybe a guy's wanted to date this really hot girl for a long time, and he gets a date with her. He tells his friend responds by saying, score. So it's something we use when you've been successful at something, you get something you really want, or you win something big. So that's just an example of something we use in sports that has turned into everyday language. It's slang, though. You won't hear older people say this, but the young kids say it all the time.
Okay, so the title again is We're Scoring Big with Words. We're using sports idioms like a pro or a professional athlete. Athletes, of course, who get paid are the pros. And many popular English expressions originate from the world of sports. So, of course, they originate from sports. That means they come from there, and these are probably popular English expressions that come from sports, and we use them in everyday conversation. I imagine the same is probably true in Chinese.
Oh, I'm sure. So while their roots lie in athletics, and that's what we've been talking about, they actually come from or originate in the world of sports, their meanings extend far beyond the playing field. And we've just got some examples here that we want to go over with you. Athletics is one of our vocabulary words, though. We use it just to talk about sports that involve things like running, jumping, throwing. Most sports, you have to be pretty active, pretty athletic, which also means you've got coordination between your eye and your limbs. Some people are really good at hitting that really fast ball that comes over the plate in baseball, but others don't even see it. Their body can't react fast enough. I realized I was never going to be a good golfer when I went with my brothers onto a golf course, and the first time I swung to hit that golf ball, I hit the dirt. And whoa, that was shocking because I was swinging with all my might. But my brothers are really good golfers. One has a handicap of 8, and he's not professional, and he didn't play in college. But some people are just really well coordinated, and we say that they're athletic.
Yeah, golf is hard. You got to hit that ball that's kind of far away from you with that long club.
Yeah.
So, of course, it takes lots of training to become good at golf. I did want to say that the word athletics does refer to sports in general, but also sometimes if you see the word athletics, you might just be thinking of track and field competitions, and that could involve, sprints or long races or the pole vault or the high jump. Those are all athletics events. But again, athletics can also mean sports in general. Now, let's look at the first one here. We've got what is called a hat trick. Now, as a fan of ice hockey or just hockey, I know what that is, and it's a great achievement if somebody does score a hat trick. And, of course, as you might expect, lots of people throw their hats down onto the ice.
Oh, see, I'm not familiar with hockey. I didn't even think of hockey when I saw this. But for those of you who are into hockey, you'll probably understand this. But the expression comes from cricket. And I didn't realize it came from England originally because I usually just see it being played in the Middle East. India, they love this game. You see them play it the most on TV, at least. It's when a bowler dismisses a batter. It's called taking a wicket. Since you understand cricket a lot better than I do, Tom, you might want to explain what a bowler is.
Well, I guess it's the equivalent of a pitcher in baseball. So that's the person who actually runs toward the crease or whatever and then throws the ball. You got to have your arm perfectly straight when you do that. And then it rolls across the ground. And then the batter has to hit it with that, I guess that's called a cricket bat. I guess it's a special kind of bat. It's more flat than a baseball bat. But yes, the bowler is trying to dismiss a batter. I guess that means the bowler is trying to get the batter out.
Yeah.
And then the term they use is to take a wicket. Okay, again, I'm not really too familiar with the cricket. It's similar to baseball, so you'd have to talk to somebody from the UK or from India or from New Zealand or whatever. They'll probably tell you all about it. But that's what it means if you dismiss a batter or if you get rid of the batter, if you make the batter be out, then you take a wicket. That is the term.
I had to look up wicket because I had no idea what that was either. And it says it's a set of stumps and bails that the bowler, that pitcher guy, tries to hit in cricket. So, for example, you could say the bowler knocked over the wicket.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a completely different game to us in America. We don't really watch any cricket. Maybe some people are into it, but it's rare. So taking 3 wickets in a row is a great achievement. It's a big accomplishment. So in the past, a bowler, and again, as Tom said, he's the one who throws the ball. In the past, a bowler who achieved this was awarded or rewarded. If you're rewarded with something, you did something good. And so someone gives you a prize. He was rewarded with a hat. So later, we know that sports like hockey and soccer adopted it to mean scoring 3 goals in a game. Do you hear about that in soccer too, Tom?
Yes, indeed. It does apply to soccer as well, soccer or football. It depends on where you are. Hockey, of course, is ice hockey. That is a very popular sport in North America and in Finland and Sweden and places like that. So, yes, if you score 3 goals in a game, they don't have to be consistent. You just score 3 goals. Yeah, they don't have to be consecutive or in a row like they do with cricket here. In cricket, they have to be consecutive. But in hockey, if you get 3 goals during a game, then you have scored a hat trick. And, of course, that also applies to soccer as well. If you score 3 goals in a game, you get a hat trick.
I wanted to mention baseball. I'm more familiar with that because we use this expression quite a bit. But hat trick is actually morphed or changed into the sombrero. Sombrero is the word in Spanish for hat. And so you hear oftentimes on sports broadcasts, if a batter gets up and strikes out 3 times consecutively, he has to do it every time he gets up. He can't get up once, strike out, the next time get a hit. That's not going to qualify. He has to strike out consecutively. He can either strike out 3 or 4 times. Technically, a golden sombrero, golden meaning woohoo, golden sombrero is 4 strikeouts, but now lately I've been hearing people use it for 3. So 3 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts is called the golden sombrero. And again, we get it from this original term, hat trick.
Right. Okay. So there you have it. The hat trick. Again, it applies to cricket and to hockey and soccer. And in a sort of way, it applies to baseball, but with a different term. And nowadays, this phrase means to achieve any 3 successes consecutively. Nowadays just means in modern times. If you're consecutive, you do things one after another without being interrupted. So, of course, you need to have these successes consecutively, 3 in a row. And yes, indeed, that means you achieve 3 successes consecutively, not in soccer or hockey. Okay, you can just score 3 goals during the game. They don't have to be consecutive. But in life, if you have 3 successes consecutively, like making a killing on the stock market or something, then that's considered a hat trick.
If you're using it just in regular life, consecutively, I could say, oh, this week we've had 5 consecutive days of rain. So a week is 7 days. Maybe you get 2 without rain, but 5 consecutive days just means every single day it was raining, which we have in Taiwan quite frequently, actually. But that's what makes Taiwan so beautiful and green. So here's another word we've got, nowadays. Nowadays just means, at the present time. Nowadays, people are using their smartphones all the time. But in the past, we didn't really have so many smartphones in usage. And people were more normal outside. They weren't always looking down at their screens. They were looking up, and you could actually smile and exchange greetings with people. Seems like everybody has their head down now as they're walking along the sidewalk or the streets. But nowadays, again, just means in the present time. And this phrase, nowadays, means to achieve any 3 successes consecutively or failures. In baseball, it would be considered a failure to get that golden sombrero or the hat trick. But you can apply it, again, not just in sports, you can do it other ways. For example, Tom?
Okay, well, if a comedian's last 3 jokes landed perfectly during a show, you could say it was a hat trick. Now, a comedian is a funny person. They stand in front of people and they tell jokes and things like that. They're also called stand-up comedians. There are lots of them, like Dave Chappelle is one example. There are many others. And, of course, I don't really think they have the tradition here in Taiwan. It's kind of similar to xiangsheng, where you have 2 guys up there or it could be women as well. They kind of go back and forth with some sort of dialogue, and it's funny. But in America, of course, you just got 1 person up there, and they're telling jokes. And if this comedian has told 3 jokes in a row and they landed perfectly, in other words, they made lots of people laugh, then that comedian has scored a hat trick.
I wanted to definitely make this clear. Hat trick is 3 successes, right? Whereas the golden sombrero was 3 failures.
Oh, no.
So it's the opposite. They're kind of mocking the players by saying, oh my gosh, the whole game, you just failed had one failure after another. Right now, guys, we're going to listen to our Chinese teacher explain a bit more, and then we'll be back to talk about 2 more idioms with ya.
听众朋友大家好，我们今天要来看几个跟运动有关的片语哦，还蛮有趣的耶，这个我都不太清楚。那这个跟运动有关的片语啊，当然就是起源于体育嘛，可能是不同的这些体育项目。我们在文章一开始第一段的地方，先注意一下第二句。第二句的第一个单字的 while 在英文当中啊，如果放在句首，当然有可能是 when 的意思，但其实还蛮常用的另外一个意思就是虽然，也就是它等于 although 的用法哦。好，虽然这些片语的 roots 它们的根源啊 lie in athletics， 这里的 lie in 呢，指的是在于、位于、寓于，也有起源于的意思。所以虽然是起源于体育啊，但是其实其他的运动场以外的地方也都可以用啦。例如第一个我们看到的是 hat trick， 字面上就是帽子戏法。帽子戏法是什么意思呢？其实是3连胜的意思。好，我们来看一下它的 origin， 它的起源。在 hat trick 这一段的第一句啊，我们直接看到原来是来自于 cricket 是板球啦，板球在台湾好像没有那么 popular， 不过呢有一些人呢也有在公园在打板球哦。好，那重点来咯，如果投球手让击球手出局的时候啊，在板球当中就被称为 taking the wicket， 这是在第二句的地方。所以第二句我们看到的是 bowler 指的是投球手， batter 指的是击球手，中间动词的 dismiss 本来有解散的意思，有没有？在这里指的是让击球手出局。好，那这种情况就会被称为 taking the wicket。 重点来了第三句 taking 3 wickets in a row，先把它画起来，指的是连续的意思。重点是如果你连续让3个人可以出局的话，哇，那真的是很了不起耶， It's a great achievement。 所以在过去啊，如果真的能够达到连续让3个 batters 出局的话呢，就可以戴一个帽子。好，接着我们来看一下第三句后面一点的地方，有一个限定用法关系子句哦。这个 a bowler 啊，就是投球手。怎样的投球手会被戴一个帽子呢？护到 this 这个地方左右括号，也就是达成这样子让3个人连续出局的 bowler was rewarded。 当然这是在过去了，之前就会给他戴一个帽子。好，所以这叫做 hat trick。 那之后啊，像是 hockey 啊 soccer 啊，也是采用了这样子的方式，的意思就是说呢，在一个比赛当中啊，连进了3球。所以接下来的第4句呢，我们看到中间有一个 adopt， 在这里指的是采用的意思。后面的 it 指的就是我们刚刚所谓的戴帽子这件事情。那现在还可以在别的什么样的一个场域当中用到呢？比如说在喜剧演员啊，这个喜剧演员如果在表演的时候说的3个笑话连续啊都让这个观众大笑的话，就可以说 Wow, it was a hat trick。 好，不过这一段当中呢，我们把第5句后面一点的地方有一个副词叫做 consecutively， 它其实就是连续，我们刚刚说 in a row 这个片语的一个单一的副词单字。那最后第6句的地方，我们说如果3个笑话都可以让观众大笑啊，这个 landed perfectly 这2个字也可以画起来哦。字面上叫做安全着陆，如果是在这个喜剧演员他说笑话的时候，就表示观众都很有反应，成功的让观众大笑，那就是一个 hat trick。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, it's time for us to talk about baseball, which, of course, is a very popular sport here in Taiwan. And I think, of course, in Chinese, you use a lot of terms that apply to life. I think 全垒打 means something more than just, hitting a home run. It also means that you've scored big in some aspect of your life. I think I've heard it that way. I could be wrong. But there, of course, are other uses as well. And in English, we've got one called out of left field. What exactly does that mean?
Well, sometimes in baseball, the batter will hit the ball to left field. and he thinks he's really hit it quite far, and there's no way they're going to get to any runners that are running around the bases. But that left field player, he has a great strong arm, as we say. He has a strong arm, and he throws it to home base, and he gets a runner rounding the bases who didn't even expect that they would even get to the ball in time. But he's suddenly out. And so that is something coming out of left field. That's what it means. But the way we're using it in just regular life is just to see something unexpected or to hear something unexpected or just really surprising. Wow, that came out of left field. Maybe you had two friends and they just seemed to be friendly. They didn't look like they were dating. And then you hear they're engaged to be married. Wow, that was out of left field, or that came out of left field.
Something very unexpected. Of course, if you hit in the right field where Ichiro is, he'll probably get you out pretty easily. But of course, the left fielder has to throw that ball all the way from the left field over to first base or over to home plate. And of course, if someone does that, the runner will be caught off guard. They're not expecting this to happen. And of course, then it's referred to something that comes out of left field. Now, here's an example. For instance, if your friend suddenly announces they're moving to South America, that would be completely out of left field. Indeed, that would be totally unexpected. South America is a great place, but most people, when they move abroad, they'll go to Japan or the USA or Australia or Europe or places like that. Not really to South America. They're not really English-speaking down there.
Right.
So that, of course, would be out of left field. Why do you want to go to South America? Do you want to go to Brazil or something, or Argentina? Of course, there are great business opportunities down there as well, but still, it's very unexpected.
It's funny, just yesterday I was talking to some Taiwanese friends of mine, and I asked them to flip the R like they do in Spanish, and no one could do it. And I thought, that's so interesting. Yeah, so it's not something I guess everyone is born with or it can do. My dad couldn't flip his R, but a lot of Americans can because we have a lot of Spanish speakers in America. I wanted to mention, guys, right there in this paragraph, out of left field paragraph, we've got another idiom, to catch someone off guard. That's another idiom we use in life. It just means to surprise someone. As Tom was saying, surprise someone when they're not ready. So if you're on guard, it means you've prepared yourself for something to happen. I find myself on guard when I'm around people that I don't know or maybe that I don't trust. So I want to be ready. So I'm watching out. I'm extra alert. But if you're caught off guard, you're really surprised by something and you're not ready for it. So we use that quite often.
I did want to mention another term in baseball that we use. It has to do with a ballpark. Like if somebody's going to tell you some statistics or something, but they don't know the exact figure, you could say, well, give me a ballpark figure. Give me a general figure. And that's another phrase that we can use that has to do with baseball. I'm sure there are many others as well. First base, second base, the pitcher, the catcher. They're probably all expressions that we use based on those positions.
Yeah, Chinese would just be 左右, 对不对? 左右. You don't know the exact number, but yeah, can you give me a ballpark figure? So that's a really good one to use as well.
Okay, now here's the final one. We're moving away from baseball and we're going to boxing. That's like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, people like that. They used to go into the ring, which is actually square, but they would go in there and beat the living daylights out of each other. They would punch each other until one fell down. So that's what boxing is. And this phrase, to throw in the towel, comes from boxing.
Now, Tom, you just threw in another idiom, to beat the living daylights out of someone. What is that?
That just means to really beat on somebody until they pass out. They won't know what they're doing. They'll just see stars in their eyes. It's kind of violent. It's kind of brutal.
Sometimes we use it in a joking way, too. I know when my mom would use that phrase, she never beat the living daylights out of any of us. But, we do something wrong when we were kids, because we were kids, and we go, oh, I hope mom doesn't beat the living daylights out of us. So, yeah, that's another great phrase. But I think it's older. I don't know if they use it so much anymore, but you really beat someone badly. The phrase has its roots in boxing, as Tom said. I don't like boxing. I hate to see people get punched and hurt badly. Some of those guys end up with concussions, even though they're wearing gloves, and they're really well trained. You never know. So when a boxer faced inevitable defeat, inevitable, it's not easy to say. Inevitable means it's definitely going to happen. There's no doubt about it. It's just going to be true or come true, inevitable. If you eat so much food every day that you feel sick, you're inevitably, the adverb form, going to get fat. It's just going to happen. It's something that you can kind of count on happening. So when a boxer knew no matter what, he was going to be defeated, that's when they would tell the coach, or the coach would want to protect his boxer and throw in the towel or quit the boxing match. Remember, it's not a boxing game, it's a boxing match. So if you're going to admit defeat, you're going to admit that you lost in some sort of game or competition, or maybe even in a battle, in a war.
Yep, you're going to admit defeat, and unless the referee stops the fight, they often do that. They see that the person is no good anymore. They're going to get hurt, so the referee just simply steps in and stops the fight.
Good.
But if the referee hasn't done that, the coach will stop the fight by throwing in the towel. They'll throw it into the ring to surrender. I suppose those arenas where they had these fights before was circular in shape. Nowadays, of course, it's square, but we still call it the ring.
We do. It used to be a white towel. We actually use white towels in war, too. We used to a long time ago. If one of the parties or the sides wanted to admit defeat or surrender because they were being beaten up so badly and so many of their soldiers had died, they would hold up a white towel on a long stick or on top of a long rifle or gun to say, hey, we quit. We give up. You won. But today this idiom refers to giving up or conceding defeat in any situation. You can use it at business. Maybe you've been put on a really hard project and you're supposed to report to your boss about getting a new client for the company. And you've worked so hard, you've tried everything, but that client just doesn't want to buy more product from you. And you have to say to your boss, you know what? I think we've got to throw in the towel here.
Yep, we've got this example. You throw in the towel if your company is not doing well. You're having financial trouble. Financial just means having to do with finances, with money and things like that. You just don't have enough money to continue business.
So these sports idioms, they bring color, they bring, more fun and more vitality to our lives, more energy to your everyday communication. Just makes what you're saying more interesting, I would say. And it helps us sound more natural and engaging. If you're engaging, you're getting people's interest and they want to hear what you have to say. But remember, don't misuse idioms. It's worse if you use the wrong idiom in just the inappropriate situation. So be careful. If you do want to use idioms, make sure you really have studied where they're appropriate. That's important if it's not your native language.
Okay, everybody, don't strike out and don't get picked off by the pitcher. Let's listen to our Chinese teacher hit a home run for you.
接着我们就来看一下 out of left field. Left field 左外野，这就是来自于棒球咯。好，我们这个来自于刚刚 hat-trick 的第一句用的是 come from， 对不对？现在看到的第一句来自于就直接用 be rooted in， 字面上就是源自于根于什么什么。好，为什么呢？因为从左外野投回本垒或者是一垒的球，有时候会让跑者措手不及啊。那我还特别的问了一下这些打棒球的朋友们，他们说如果要跑回来的时候左外野那边过来的球通常是在背后看不见的，所以会有一种意想不到不寻常或者是出乎意料的意思。好，所以它是一个来自于棒球的一个用法 out of left field。 例如说呢，如果有一个朋友突然说什么要移民去哪里这个时候你可以说哇，这个消息简直就是一个完全就是 out of left field。 好，这时候可以把它这样子来使用。那接下来我们看到第三个呢是 throwing the towel。 throwing the towel 是把毛巾丢进去，丢进去哪里原来它是来自于 boxing。 拳击运动。我们在第3段的这边第一句哦，刚刚说来自于可以用 come from、be rooted in， 现在看到的是 has one's roots in， has its roots in boxing， 所以 have one's roots in 就可以有来自于什么什么的意思。那这是一个什么情况呢？原来是因为这个拳击手啊，如果面临已经不可避免的失败，教练呢这时候想要直接就停止，教练就会把毛巾丢进拳击场，就表示投降。所以投降呢，我们可以说 give up， 放弃了。我们也可以用这里第2句最后一个字 to surrender， surrender 这个动词就有投降的意思。那当然在今天的话，我们指任何种情况之下，不管你放弃啊，承认失败，都可以说 throwing the towel。那第3句这个地方我们特别注意一下，我们如果是让步会用的是 concede， give up， concede defeat， 承认失败。好，那当然最后面呢，其实还有一个很重要的关键句型哦。如果我们觉得这些句型啊，这些片语都很好用，现在啊就该是我们来使用它的时候，在最后面最后这一句的地方，我们把 it's time somebody did something 特别把它抓出来。如果现在正式使用的时候，就表示我们根本没有用嘛。所以后面的 used 这个过去式啊，它其实代表的是与现在事实相反。It's time someone did something， 注意与现在事实相反，要用过去式哦。以上是我们今天内容，我是安娜，我们下次见。
That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and please be encouraged to study English and not head to the baseball park, although that can be exciting as well. You can watch those players hit a home run. That brings us to the end of our lesson. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.